Hello everyone, Justin to Gaming here. EA has announced a lot of things in the past 72 hours, mainly about goalies. EA's schedule is clearly not in line with my own, as once again, I just wasn't home when the news was announced. Call it bad luck, but here is what we know about goalies. Here is a picture that EA tweeted out. It seems to be from the new visual ice trainer in BIA Pro mode, but look at the goalie's glove. It's positioned above his hip instead of its usual lower positioning. In theory, this should make glove high shots easier to save, as the glove is already there. If that's true and it's not just a visual change, that's one less thing for us goalies to worry about, even for AI goalies in modes such as HUT, Online Versus, etc. EA apparently brought in Eddie Lack from the Vancouver Canucks to model and motion capture for goalie movements. This was something that even the Game Changers didn't know about, so EA did a very good job keeping this a secret. And now on to some of the bigger news. Control the crease. Decide whether to make controlled positional saves or commit to high-risk athletic saves that may leave you vulnerable to second chances. Now, I think that what they're talking about is if you're a goalie, you've had times where your goalie will do a dive across the crease animation to make that save. Sometimes it helps you make the save, but other times it's completely unnecessary and it screws you over. The problem with this animation is that we did nothing to initiate it. The right stick is supposed to be for anticipation, but I've had this diving animation at times without even using the right stick. This is a problem that hopefully this new feature seems to address. Now when we go for that tough save, it sounds like we're going to have the option of pressing a button to initiate that athletic save. We can go for that high risk, high reward save, but it sounds like something that shouldn't be used very often, as EA says it will leave you open to secondary chances. But the fact that it sounds like that us goalies are going to have the ability to control when we dive or perform other athletic movements is a huge plus. The more control we have over our saves, the better. And now on to EA's second announcement, a brand new way to control goalies. You can now decide between controlled strides and longer T-pushes. First, I'll quickly talk about the T-push. The T-push is a goalie maneuver which allows us to move quickly from the post to the top of the crease while facing the puck in the stand-up position. The T-push also works in the other direction, meaning you should be able to move from the top of the crease to the post relatively quickly as well. In NHL 15, we can move to the top of the crease somewhat quickly, however that movement is anything but controlled. If EA's version of the T-push allows us to move from the crease to the post somewhat quickly, this is definitely a useful tool which can be used for backdoor passes, so I'm interested to see how this works. Next up, goalies are now responsible for their momentum, especially when in the butterfly. When moving side to side in the butterfly, there should be a high recoil since you do need to stop your momentum and then get it restarted in the other direction. Saves like this should be much more difficult than it really was. My movements were so bad and yet I still had time to react and make the save relatively cleanly. All of these changes will lead to the biggest challenge that all goalies will have to adapt to, and that is a new control scheme. With all these changes, EA has announced that they are figuring out how to remap the new goalie controls. For those who don't know what remapping is, it's basically deciding what each button on the controller will do. Now, I don't expect the controller to be completely reworked. I expect almost all of it to be the same. But if I had to guess, I would expect that the right bumper, or R1, combined with the right stick, will be modified from the desperation save to the new athletic save. If the athletic saves have their own button, meaning we get to control our dives, then I just expect the right stick, when used by itself, to only be used as the anticipation stick as it was truly meant to be. The T-push is trickier to guess. Are we going to have to hold the post or be headed towards the post in order to initiate this movement? Will it matter whether we're holding the post with both triggers, or can we only use right trigger in like the stand-up style to use this move? I couldn't really think of an efficient way to map this on a controller, so let me know how you would do it. EA seems to have done a lot of work for goalies on NHL 16. Hopefully these changes will help improve goalie gameplay, but not make it too easy, as in real sports, goalie is the most difficult position in all of sports. Let me know in the comment section what you think of these changes. How would you rework the controller? Or just anything about NHL 16. I really appreciate it if you click that like button. To stay updated on anything EASHL related, you can subscribe and follow me on Twitch and Twitter. I'm Justin to Gaming, and thanks for watching.